Welcome to the fourth edition. This is the fourth show of our year-long partnership with CSCS. 30 years now, raising standards in construction and safety across the industry. Sean, welcome back.
Thanks for having me back, Andy.
Wasn't that long ago. Did you have a good Easter?
Yeah. Can't complain. We've had fantastic weather, haven't we? Given what we've had over the winter, it's nice that we're into some decent production weather.
Yeah, and also forecast is great, so no excuses for lads and lasses on site. Anyway, so this show, as I say, this is the fourth, and I want to get this spot on. This is exploring how the construction industry is evolving to meet the demands of the Building Safety Act and the role CSCS cards are having. So let's go right back to the beginning, Sean. Let's look at, could you give us a brief overview of the Building Safety Act? Because this is now more prevalent than ever. And what is the driving force behind this?
Yeah, so in short, Building Safety Act 2022, major piece of legislation for construction, comes on the back of the Grenfell disaster in 2017, where the evidence across the industry for catastrophic failures. So it is a major piece of legislation that does bring a change to us all, not just those that operate in high-risk buildings. So the key changes will impact the individual in needing to demonstrate competence, the employer to be able to demonstrate the skills and competence of the individuals they've had on site, and for the building owner to demonstrate that it's being maintained to standard.
My view, I know where we are, but my view is it was pretty sad, having been in this industry since the late 80s. We needed a disaster to get stuff in order. But one thing I have learned with construction, even across the road, we're very slow at moving things forward, adapting, modernising, becoming digital. I just want to clarify one thing with this Building Safety Act. Government are imminently responding, aren't they? That's 6 months. That's come out. Do you think there'll be tweaks to this Building Safety Act? Because obviously we've got this now, which is good, but Grenfell, etc., was quite a few years ago now. So do you think this is something that's going to continually be updated? The personal thought.
Yeah, the legislative process generally will lead to some additional adjustments. There's never necessarily pace with that unless there is an urgency. So the key thing is that we take action now on the legislation that's in place. I think there will be amendments at some point personally, but we need to get on and take action. Yeah.
So going back with CSCS cards, traditionally, these cards confirm workers have got the appropriate qualifications and passed the health and safety test.
Yeah.
So that's no longer enough in the eyes of the Building Safety Act.
Yeah, and ironically, we came about because of safety issues within sites back in 1995, and the direction then was industry sort of process out. Otherwise, there'll be legislation. The history of CSCS, yes, has been around health and safety, and yes, our whole process has been around checking qualifications and that they've got a valid current health and safety test. With the Building Safety Act, we're gearing to be able to evidence more than just the qualification going forward. So the groups involved across industry have been defining skills, knowledge, experience, behaviours for all occupations across construction, and it's the responsibility of the individual ultimately to then demonstrate that they not only have the qualifications going forward, but they continue to have the experience to do what they're doing. and that they're exhibiting the right behaviours to challenge where a product is not appropriate for that form of construction.
I think going slightly off topic, since we started this beginning of the year, there's quite a lot of noise on certain platforms from companies and individuals. But one thing I've seen is we're sitting here talking about it and questions are being answered. So I would like to emphasise, if you're watching this and you agree with Sean, you don't agree with what I'm asking, please get in touch, because this is an open platform.
Yeah.
All the questions you sent in, I've read so far. There's some more this week, which they're great questions. Please don't say we're not covering anything if you're not asking us. So just a point, if there is a question, please send it through any platform and I promise we'll bring it up. So looking at practical terms, with this amendment, what does it mean for individuals working in construction, I suppose, and the built environment?
So what it means is that as the sector organisations determine what the skills, knowledge, experience, and behaviours for each occupation needs to be able to be demonstrated to fulfil that role. And to ensure that building is constructed safely. The employer's responsibility within this, with the duty holder, is to be able to sign off that throughout that phase of construction that the building meets all the requirements.
It's been done in a safe manner.
It's been done in a safe manner with individuals that are competent to deliver it, and therefore the employer has a responsibility to understand who's been on site and what they've done, and to be able to record that. Once the site's handed over, though, it's then the owner's responsibility to make sure it's been maintained to that built standard, and therefore, as we know with all built environment, at some point there'll be some form of refurbishment, and therefore in that refurbishment stage, that building has not been compromised, which is actually what happened in Grenfell, wasn't it? It wasn't a new build; it was a refurb process.
That's something we're talking about with a company at the moment to do a show on this. The whole principal contractor, principal designer, who's in charge, client, health. I find it confusing. And so we're talking about getting a company in to explain all of this. Great example, near me, Woking, big new build went up, cladding's not fit for purpose, it's dangerous. Next thing, it's falling off, landing on people. So, but as you say, when it then passes over, it's a different story. So something we're going to look at, because I just think these are good opportunities to explain all this. So next question is how CSCS is evolving its card scheme to reflect these new requirements. We talked about Building Safety Act, everything updating, and it's certainly around the short course training and upskilling.
Yeah, so we're very clear. We've spoken now. This is our fourth session, and I've mentioned it in two of the previous sessions. Our responsibility as the card scheme is to apply the rules that industry sets, and therefore what we know is that we can't just be issuing a card based upon qualifications and health and safety going forward. If the competence of an individual needs to be measured, so we're in discussion with industry as to what the expectation is. We will therefore seek to verify that information that can be verifiable, and that's one of the challenges for everybody in the industry, not just us from the carding perspective. So that it is part of the card application process. So yes, most of what we'll be doing will be focused around the qualification that can be measured, and we can go off and check it, whether they've done the health and safety test, so we can go off and check that. Additional CPD if that's a requirement of the occupation. So for for some of those trades occupations that are in the implementation stage now, they're defining some additional CPD over and above the qualifications they may have done 5 or 10 years ago, to be evidenced at point of renewal, just to demonstrate that they're aware of the new products and how they need to be applied.
Also, the new types of build.
Yeah.
Because I'm still brick and block, always will be. But then when you look at everything else, SIPs and prefabs, and there's so many oak frame steel. There's a lot of, and obviously that makes a big difference. If you're going into, first fix or spread or layer floor, totally different.
Yeah, and therefore that's so we're in discussion with those groups through the super sector group, which is being run by industry for all aspects of trades, whether it's structural, whether it's envelope, whether it's electrical. They're all reviewing what at a trade level the skills and competence needs to be. We will then be involved at the point where they're in implementation, where we're trying to understand, okay, so what do we need to be asking to have surfaced to us as additional evidence to be able to then check and verify in the card issuance process. So at this point, we've got some things that are defined. We've still got quite a few things, quite a few elements that are undefined. And we will be adding to that defined list as they get shared with us. We're not speculating, and there's plenty of other chat. That there's solutions in order to provide for the SCEB. Well, if we can't see a SCEB defined yet in the majority of occupations, I don't know how the other organisations that are saying this, that their solution meets the SCEB can justify they meet the SCEB, because if we can't see it, perhaps they've got visibility glasses. So
quite a few wear those these days.
Yeah.
So trying to summarise, we've got some brilliant questions, and I've just thought of one as well. So looking to the future, CSCS cards are going to be showing more than just qualifications, health and safety training. But next episode, we'll look at this in a bit more details, which is going to be episode 5.
Yeah.
So briefly, what kind of systems are being developed to help track, verify and manage SCEB across the workforce?
Yeah, so the ITB review that was undertaken about 18 months ago was released just after Christmas, undertaken by Mark Farmer. As part of that, there was a recommendation that there needs to be more digital, more of a digital passport type approach in order to track and evidence that type of information. We wholeheartedly agree with that. So part of our, and Mark Farmer referred to the CSCS cards process as the basis of that passporting, that digital passporting. So we for the last 10 years, so everybody knows us as a physical card, but we in the last 10 years, like the banks and everybody else, the digital function within the card is not necessarily particularly well known. But so it's not about what's on the card, it's what's in it, and actually what's in the background of it. And so what we're very clear is that the digital passport principle is what the CSCS cards, not just ours, but across the alliance, the 37 for all occupations deliver, it's in the same as your passport to get in and out of the country. It verifies you, and you're hoping that you're not on any form of list as you get to border control, means you pass and you come back. What CSCS have been doing in the background is saying, well, okay, well, we know we need to surface more information, so therefore there's more digital functionality sitting in the background now, which means that more of your personal portfolio can sit in there. So if you're going to Europe, you don't need a visa. If you're going to South America, you need a series, some visa checks, you need health checks as part of that process. And that's all part of you getting in and out. Well, that's kind of the same as the carding process. If you're working at heights, you will need these additional competencies. Therefore, that's conceptually what we're building into the process as part of the card.
I'm just thinking, you made me think, because we've talked about it before, the amount of messages you get through Instagram about getting a hooky card to get you on site. Is that going to slowly make these redundant? Because they're not going to be able to get this amount of information. This is me just thinking ahead. Because, for 20 quid, I can get a card to go. But with this complex detail, surely that lot are going to go, we can't do this.
Well, exactly. So the card, if you like, is the passport, is the token that we understand is you.
Yeah.
In the same way as your passport is you going through the gate. The difference that we have is that for the last 10 years, we've also been investing in having the border control system in Smart Check, which enables the employer and the site controllers to be able to check and verify that the person presenting is the person whose details are in the card. So your point about those fraudulent cards or having somebody else's card gets dealt with as part of the combination of what's in it from a card perspective and how it's checked. And I think we've got another session in a few sessions' time about fraud.
Yes, we have. I'm looking forward to that.
And therefore, how the processes that we go through in the background are met and dealt with.
Yeah.
And the fraudster is always, of course, tries to be 10 steps ahead of all us because they don't have any systems. They try to exploit systems. We're very clear that part of what we now do is we give that more than just a token check as part of the process. So we're almost a closed loop process now. Passport office only issue a passport, border control who's in and out. In our scenario, yes, we issue the card, and others issue a card to our performance spec. But we collectively have a border control system in Smart Check to help the employer now verify who can use that and how it's used.
Now, this is the bit I think from the feedback people like, because it's me asking questions that have come in, and we've got some good ones. We have kind of covered this, but I've said I'll read out everything that comes in. Why aren't CSCS cards a legal requirement? I think it's only a matter of time. That's my personal view. I might be way out. But...
Yeah. So it's been an industry voluntary process. We're asking that question. I think we covered it in episode 2 or 3. We would love it to be a legal requirement because it then absolutely defines. Whilst it's voluntary, we're very clear. We're trying to raise standards, and we would, from a building safety perspective. Building safety applies now not just to the construction but to the built environment and its maintenance, and therefore card holding should apply across both of those additional parts of the sector, and that's part of the debate we're happy to be party to.
Brilliant. Well, I've got some brilliant questions which I'll move into the next episode. One about residential, which is a big thing for me because that's all I've done. So, Sean, for this fourth episode, thanks very much. Hopefully that's given you some more insights into how CSCS is evolving, Building Safety Act. Next episode, which is episode 5, we're going to be looking at more digital skills passport with Sean back in the studio.